So we are so
Kalam.
hang on. So today is the divine appearance day of Lord Baladev, Balaram, who appears in the Leela of Krishna as his older brother, who is also actually the source of all the avatars, right? Because from Krishna, um, Baladev is expanded from Krishna, and it's actually from Baladev that Vishnu Narayan comes, and all the avatars, they're all coming from him. So Baladev, um, his behavior is a little erratic at times, and it is easy to misunderstand him, but we are reminded he has such a dignified position, actually. And then of course he's also appearing as Nityananda Prabhu, right, in Krishna Lila. He is even more eccentric as Nityananda Prabhu because he's intoxicated by prema, by Krishna prema, divine love. Um, and of course, in the form of Nityananda, he is such a concentrated expression of divine mercy, and so there's been much emphasis given, right, to the importance of Nityananda Prabhu and his mercy. It is everything for us. He is also the Adi Guru, right, the original Guru. We see our Gurudev as a representative of Nityananda. So very important personality for us. And so I just wanted to start our meeting today. I know it's our Bhagavad Gita day, but we want to also remember, honor Baladev. So I thought we have this little recording. It's very beautiful of our Gurudev chanting. It's a pranam mantra to Baladev that is found in the Garga Samhita, which our Gurudev liked very much. So I will play it and I'll bring the text up on the screen as well. The audio is a little fuzzy, unfortunately. I'm going to see if Ananda Krishna can clean it up, but this is all we have for now.
Alamushala Vichalam Kamapalam Samini Tuhinagiri Manogam Neelamegam Marajam. Baladeva's Pranamantra, actually nice Pranamantra, nowhere we have seen before. Rameti Lokuramanath Balabhadra Balasya. This is in Srimad Bhagavad. And always glorification of Lord Krishna, beautifulness of Lord Krishna, everything in Srimad Bhagavad. But only this book,
I don't know if everyone is familiar with our Gurudev's voice here. If you're not familiar, it may be hard to follow. But he's saying, in case you couldn't catch it, he's saying it's difficult to find a pranam mantra of Baladev, right? And he says, in Srimad Bhagavatam, there's so much glorification of Lord Krishna, right? There's so many pranam mantras to Lord Krishna, but you don't find one for Baladev. And so he was very happy to find this one, which is in Garga Samhita. And he was also listing some different names of Baladev.
This is from Garga Samhita.
Yes. Suradamala Kiritam Kinkini Kankanaram Chaladala Kapolam Kundalaspi Mukhabjam Tuhinagiri Manogam Neelamegam Marajam Alamusala Visalam Kamapalam Samini. Baladeva's name is Kamapal. Baladeva's this name, Balabhadra, Pralambagno, Baladeva, Achyutagraja, Erevati Ramana, Ramo, Kamapala, Falayudha. Other I forgot. At least 8 names. এইসব নামেতে শাস্ত্রেতে বলদেবের গ্লোরিফিকেশন হয়েছে। বলভদ্র, প্রলম্বগ্ন, বলদেব, অচ্যুতাগ্রজ.
So Gurudev's just like ecstatically listing different names of Baladev. And also you heard him there. He's just like chanting that verse. He's so happy, like just relishing it with so much sweetness. It was so beautiful to hear.
রেবতী রমণ রাম কামপাল
Listing.
হলায়ুধ হলমুঠল বিশাল, যার হাতে বিরাট hall. And that hall is mantra puta. That means empowered by spiritual energy. Then when touching this hall,
He's talking now about his club hall, because Baladev, he carries these two instruments, right? The plow and then also the club. The hall, I think the hall is referring to the club, but he's saying it's mantra puta, saying that it's like a mystic club. It has, has like it's empowered by some mantra, and so it's like he can like do magical mystical things with his club. Yeah. And welcome, we had a few join. Sadhvi and also Anu Krishna is joining us. Very nice. Today is actually Baladev's Divine Appearance Day. So normally we have Bhagavad Gita. We thought we'll just spend a few moments to honor Lord Baladev before we go to Bhagavad Gita.
Come out as he liked, that type of power.
Touching is what now?
Anything, enemy or anything. He wants to destroy this. He is touching through this hall. Hall means plow.
Oh, plow.
Hall is
Okay,
the plow.
yes.
Okay, I got it wrong.
And touching with plow, and it is by electric charge, shock, and giving the
Electric shock.
melting through electric, some iron, etc. Like that happens. And also, it is empowered by spiritual power. Then, when he is thinking it will be little, it is little. When it will be bigger, it will be bigger. When he wants angrily to teach Duryodhana and others.
Trying to find a picture, but that's weird. Google's not. Oh, I spelled plow wrong. There we go. Oh, there's a beautiful painting. Oh, where's it taking us? Anyway, there we can see beautiful image. So that's his hall and mushala, his plow and his club. Okay.
And he taken Hastina and he wants to upside down. That Hastina wants to make upside down and put it there hall and give it.
Yeah, he's telling there was this one incident when I think Baladev, he was upset with the Kauravas, and he like threatened to move the whole city of Hastinapur, which was the capital of the royal kingdom, and he was going to like drag the whole city to another place with his magical plow. It was some incident like that. So his plow has that kind of power.
Hastina, Hastina, Hastina. Alamushala Vishal, and one club, one hand, one plow, another hand club. Some of the gopis like Krishna, some of the gopis like Balaram. Hastinapuri now in Delhi. There is now capital of India. At that time capital of Pandavas. That was. You have seen that. You have not seen?
Red Fort.
Huh? No. It is when we are entering into the Delhi, right side, left side of broken, big fort. That is Hastina.
Not the Red Fort.
Red Fort in Hastina. It is in Indraprastha. Lamusala Vishalam Kamapalam Spuradamala Kiritam.
So yeah, Gurudev's telling me. And there was another incident too with, I think it was the Jamuna River, right? Baladev became angry at the Jamuna River, and so he threatened to move her with his plow. As we said, right, Balaram is a little erratic at times in his behavior, but also very magnanimous, right? He's very good friends with Duryodhan, right? Duryodhan is the bad guy of Mahabharata, right? But Baladev is friendly with him. They are good. He also taught him, I think, in club fighting. So he has a generous spirit and very merciful, of course. So this is his beautiful pranam mantra. We can maybe chant this. Puraramala kiritam kinkini kankanarham chaladalaka kapolam kundala shimukhabjam tuhina giri manogyam nila megambaradhyam halamushala vishalam kamapalam samide. I praise the fulfiller of desires, Sri Balaram. He carries a grand plow and club. He wears a shining, spotless crown, tinkling bells and jeweled ornaments. His handsome lotus face is ornamented with earrings. Curling locks decorate his cheeks. Curling locks. His curling hair. Our Gurudev, he mentioned Srila Sridhar Maharaj used this phrase about Krishna's hair, agreeable negligence. Agreeable negligence, like hair is a little messy, but it's very pleasing, right? If it's too tidy, that's boring, right? So that's like Krishna's style, agreeable negligence, his hair. And so Gurudev, he mentioned that once when he was talking about this pranam mantra. Baladev also has this style in his hair going on. Little messy with curled hair. His complexion resembles a beautiful snow-capped mountain and is adorned with garments the color of dark blue clouds. And we can maybe read this. This is from another talk of our Gurudev's. Gurudev's explaining this. Here it is, the agreeable negligence. Spuradamala kiritam. Baladev's crown is decorated with many jewels and looks very beautiful. When Baladev is first seen, the beauty of his crown is noticed first. He always wears many ornaments, and all of these ornaments are also decorated with jewels. Chaladalaka kapolam kundala shimukabjam. His curling hair is very beautiful. It is not properly organized, and some of it covers part of his face. But he appears more beautiful because of that. Guru Maharaj called it agreeable negligence. Tuhina giri manogyam. His color is bright white like ice. Nila me gambaradyam. He wears exalted peacock blue colored cloth. Hala mushala vishalam. His weapons are the plow and club. These two weapons are in his two hands. They are mantra puta, empowered by spiritual energy. Baladev cannot destroy anything with them. If he simply touches his plow to something, fire or electricity can come out and destroy that thing. When he thinks his plow needs to be a little smaller, it becomes smaller. When he thinks it needs to be bigger, it becomes bigger. His plow can do anything he desires. And lastly, his name was Kamapal. He can fulfill all the desires of Krishna and all the desires of Krishna's devotees. Gurudev actually mentioned, it's said somewhere in the scriptures that another thing Baladev did with his magic plow once, that his consort, right, his wife, I think Rohini Devi, was it? No, Revati. No, Revati is his mother. Does anyone remember what is the name of Baladev's consort?
Yamuna.
Jamuna. No, Baladev's wife. Is it Revati? Let me look it up here. Balaram's wife is Revati. Yes, it's Revati. But she was much taller than him, like several feet taller than him, and he wanted, he couldn't speak with her properly because of that. So with his plow, he made her shorter, So these kinds of magical powers. And I was also thinking maybe we have also in the Dasavatar, right, by Jayadev Goswami, we normally sing this today. We can.
I meant when he got angry at Yamuna and he used his plow and make Yamuna to go through towards many.
Yes, that's right. That was another pastime with his plow. Yes, exactly. Yes, that's right. Here it is. I'm just looking at this, this is the prayer in the Dashavatar Stotram. Vahasiva pushi vishade vasanam jaladabam halahati biti milita jamunabam Keshava-drita haladhara-rupa jaya jagadisha hade. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of Balaram, the wielder of the plow, all glories to you. On your brilliant white body you wear garments the color of a fresh blue rain cloud. These garments are colored like the beautiful dark hue of the river Jamuna, who feels great fear due to the striking of your plow. So we pray for the grace of Sri Baladev on this very special day. Okay, well, we can go to Bhagavad Gita unless anyone has another request at this point. Okay, then let's see. I did have it set up. Well, can you see my screen here? Because I had the screen share set up for another tab.
Yes.
You can see the Bhagavad Gita here. Okay. Okay, great. Then, so we've come to chapter 5 of Bhagavad
Gita. No, it says Sri Garga Samhita.
I see. You can only see the other window. So I think I have to stop the share. And I'll make a new share for this other
Bhagavad Gita.
This other tab. Here we go. Okay, that should work now. Okay, so we're shifting into Bhagavad Gita mode. We've come to chapter 5. Okay. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militanjena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So we've come to chapter 5, Karma Sannyas Yoga, the path of renunciation of action. So we'll listen to our Gurudev chanting a few verses.
Panchamodhyaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Karma Sannyasa Yoga. Arjuna Vacha.
Sannyasam karmanam Krishna punarjugam cha sangsasi Jat shreya etayurikam tanme bruhi sunishchitam. Sri Bhagavad uvacha sannyasa karmayogascha nisseyasa karabhubhu tayostu karma sannyasat karma yogo visishyate. Gya sa nitya sannyasi jo no deshti no kankhati nirgando hi mahabahu sukhang bandhat pramuchyate. Sankha yogo prithagvala pravadanti na pandita ekamapyasthita samyagubhayor brindati phalam jat sankhai prapati sthanam tad yogairapi gammate ekang sankhancha yogancha jah pashyati sapashyati.
Okay, I'm going to pause there. So we went through 5 verses and we can chant those. Arjuna Uvacha Sanyasam Karmanam Krishna Punaryogan Shashamsasi Yakshaya Itayorikam Tanme Bruhi Sunishtitam. Arjuna said, O Krishna, you speak of renunciation of actions, and then again you speak of the path of selfless action. Therefore, please tell me clearly which is superior. So in the previous chapter, right, Krishna is speaking about, he's speaking about karma yoga, and he's also speaking about jnana yoga, right? And in jnana yoga, there's more emphasis on renunciation, cultivation of knowledge, and so on, study. And then in karma yoga, the idea is that you're remaining active in the world, but internally you are cultivating detachment. So Krishna is speaking about both of these, so he's naturally a little confused. And of course, Arjuna is representing all of us and really trying to help us out. So let's hear Krishna's response. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. So let's all chant together. Sannyasa karma yogascha nishayasa kadavubho tayostu karma sannyasat karma yogo vishishyate. The Supreme Lord said, both renunciation of action and the path of selfless action bring great benefit. Yet of the two, know that the way of selfless action is superior. Gyeya sa nitya sannyasi yona dveshti na kankshati nirdvando hi mahabaho sukham bandhat pramuchyate. O mighty armed Arjuna, know that one who is free from attraction and aversion is truly renounced, though one who is free from attraction and aversion is truly renounced, though performing action. For one who is free from duality easily attains liberation from bondage. So this is the thing, right, that somebody can be externally practicing jnana yoga. One may externally be renounced from the world, but internally they're still full of desires. And so that path is more difficult and more risky, right? But then if someone's practicing karma yoga, they're in a safer position, and it's a much more accessible, easier practice, right? Because you don't have to, because it's our nature to be active, right? So we don't have to give that up. We can still be active and engaging with the world, but we're trying to internally make this adjustment that we are free from these two tendencies, dveshti kankshati. This is the nature of the world of duality, and one who's caught up in this world where we're going between one of these two things. Dveshti is referring to like this aversion, oh, I don't like this. And then kankshati is this desire, oh, I want this, right? So normally we are in the throes of these two tendencies. But in the practice of karma yoga, we're trying to overcome these tendencies. How? Just by focusing on what is our duty, right? What is actually required of me in this moment, and being free from my internal like or dislike. I'm just going to focus on like, what's my job? What's the right path for me right now? And so it's a very harmonious, holistic way of practicing spiritual life. You're not isolating yourself. It's integrated. That's the word I'm looking for. It's an integrated spiritual practice, and it's a much safer place to be in. Whereas if you try to jump to Jnana Yoga, you could externally be renounced, but internally there's something else going on. And it's also, at any time you could also just fall from that, because it is, especially if it's based on an artificial renunciation, it's not sustainable. Go on to verse 4. Sankhya yogo pritagbala pravadanti na panditaha ekamapyasti tatsamya gupayor vindate phalam. The path of renunciation, Sankhya Yoga, and the path of selfless action, Karma Yoga, are considered separate paths by the unwise, but not by the learned. One who perfectly follows either of these paths will achieve the result of both. So now Krishna is coming to a deeper point, that actually these two paths are like two rungs on a ladder, right? And the idea is that by practicing selfless action, Karma Yoga, there is a purification of the consciousness that takes place. And then that naturally leads one into this more developed stage of awakening in spiritual knowledge, right? Our consciousness becomes cleansed by living in a spirit of selflessness. The consciousness opens, the soul becomes more prominent and present within us. And then we can go deeper into spiritual knowledge, and we will also develop naturally this renunciation and detachment. So this is actually the line of progression that's being presented in Gita, right? That you can start with Karma Yoga. It's very accessible. Anybody can do it. You don't have to change anything in your life. Just try and change your inner intention, right? And then through that, there's purification. The various prejudices, filters that are clouding our consciousness, they'll start to clear, because we're trying to act in this selfless and pure-hearted mind. So this purification takes place, and then we naturally become qualified for spiritual knowledge. So ultimately they are the same path. They're both leading to the same place. Yat sankhyaye prapyate stanam tad yogera pigamyate ekam sankhyancha yogancha yapashyati sapashyati. The state achieved by the renunciation of action is also achieved by the performance of selfless action. One who sees these two paths to be one and the same actually sees. Sanyasastu mahabaho dukamapta mayogata yoga yukto munir brahma nachirena digachati. O mighty hero, without selfless action, mere renunciation of action is the cause of sorrow. But the wise man who engages in selfless action swiftly attains to the absolute. So if you try and jump to renunciation of action, to detach, to renounce the world, it will lead to unhappiness. So step by step, one will gradually reach this. And the real goal in any case is that internal detachment, right? Not some external renunciation from the world. What is actually the use of that? But the real goal is to live in this internal place of detachment from worldly things. So we can go back to our Gurudev's chanting here.
Sannyāsastu mahābāhu dukkhamaptu majogata yoga yukto munir brahma na chire nadhigacchati yoga yukto visuddhatma विजितात्मा जितेन्द्रियः सर्वभूतात्मभूतात्मा कुर्वन्नपि न लिप्यते नैनं किंचित् करोमीति युक्तो मन्येत तत्त्ववित् पश्यन् शृण्वन् स्पृशन् जिघ्रन् नरस्नन् गच्छन् सपन् शशन् प्रलपन् विसृजन् गृह्णन् उन्मिषन्निमिषन्नपि इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेषु वर्तन्त इति धारयन् ब्रह्मण्याध्याय कर्माणि संगं त्यक्त्वा करोति यः लिप्यते न स पापेन पद्मपत्र विवाम्भसा.
Okay. So we left off in 6, verse 7. Yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriyaha sarvabhutatma bhutatma purvanapi na lipyate. The clean-hearted person, thus engaged in yoga, controls his mind and senses, becoming filled with affection and compassion for all beings. Although fully active, he is never implicated by any action. And this one really captures me because it's something I've just started noticing recently in Bhagavad Gita, that in several places it describes, as a person becomes more clear in their consciousness, they naturally also become filled with compassion and affection for others. They become more aware, right? And more caring about others. It's an interesting thing because, I think there's like a stereotype of the renunciate, being like quite isolated, right? And disconnected, right? But what it's saying here, like there can be this mentality of, it's me and the divine, right? Me and God, right? But actually, if one is actually becoming more enlightened, then they're naturally filled with more care for others, right? Their own ego has quietened, right? The false ego, the noise of the false ego is quiet, it's become quiet. And so because of that, they're more aware, sensitive, perceptive of others, right? And their feelings and their needs and so on, right? There's also this natural humility that comes along with more awareness, because one is less aware of themselves and more aware, they're becoming more aware of the whole, right? It's not just about me, but I'm living in an organic whole comprised of many parts. And so there's a natural humility that will also come along with one who is advancing in spiritual development. So it's very beautiful to hear this description of what is a true yogi, right? And then verses 8 and 9, just go straight to the translation. The realized karma yogi performs the activities of seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving, sleeping, breathing, speaking, evacuating, grasping objects, blinking the eyes, and so on, and understands my sense organs, eyes, ears, skin, nose, and tongue, function in relation to their respective objects of form, sound, touch, smell, and taste. Thus he considers I do not perform any action at all. Right? So it's interesting, right? Because normally, in our conditioned state, we're not distinguishing, right, between these different layers of the self and the needs and desires of our body and its various senses. We identify that with I, right? Like I'm hungry, right? Or I'm thirsty, or I'm angry, right? No, it's your ego that's angry. It's your stomach that's hungry, right? And that's actually separate from the I, right? And so the interesting thing is, right, that as one progresses in spiritual consciousness, then there starts to be this space that opens up, right? And so you start to see the space between these different layers. And so you see, like, oh yeah, all of my senses are just interacting, with the corresponding sense objects. Oh, I'm seeing that chocolate cake, and my tongue is excited, and my belly is excited, and my mind is excited. But the realized soul will see, oh, it's just my senses interacting with something that they like, right? That's not actually me. There's just this like play, there's a show going on right now, right? There's a show going on. But that's actually totally separate from who I am, right? And so as we progress in spiritual consciousness, we'll start to see that, right? Oh, and then we can go back to what we were discussing earlier, right? These words, dveshti and kankshati, the dveshti, dvesh, or sometimes it's also rendered rag and dvesh. Rag means this attraction, dvesh, aversion. So then, and the senses are basically operating on the basis of these two principles of rag and dvesh, like and dislike. And so in that way, we're moving through our environment, constantly engaging in this way that, oh, this is pleasing to me. This sight is pleasing to my eyes, or it's not pleasing to my eyes. This taste is pleasing to my tongue, or it's not pleasing to my tongue, right? We're kind of like just controlled by these things in our, in our day-to-day lives, right? Moment by moment. If you think about it, it's actually kind of sad and embarrassing. But that's the human condition, right? That's what we are at present. But here is what's being described: the realized karma yogi, yukta tattvavit is the Sanskrit here. They have this inner space, this detachment within them, and they see all these things going on, but like you're watching a movie, like there's just a show playing out, and they're feeling the distinction of who is the actual I, the Atma, the soul within, right? Now this is a very beautiful verse. This verse number 10 here. Brahmanyadaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti ya lipyate nasa papena padmapatrami vambasa. One who, though living in this world, selflessly offers all his actions to the Supreme Lord is not polluted by sin, as a lotus leaf remains on the water, yet is untouched by it. So if you have a lotus leaf, or not only a lotus leaf, there are other leaves that will do that. Maybe not all leaves, but you see with some leaves, right? If you put a drop of water on it, the water remains intact, right? It's there's a word for it. I can't remember. There's actually a scientific term for it. But anyway, the leaf does not absorb the water, right? So that drop of water remains, and you can roll it around, right? If you move the leaf this way, that way, the drop of water will remain intact, will roll around, right, on the leaf. So it's using this analogy, right, in the same way that, normally our action is entangling us in this world. Normally action is creating more karma, right? And it's entangling us more and more in this bondage, in this cycle of action, reaction, birth, death, and so on. And it's almost impossible to avoid, right? With every breath that you take, right, we're actually killing so many living entities, right? With everything that we eat, even if we are, vegan or whatever, like we're still killing those vegetables, right? So it's practically unavoidable, that we are creating disturbance in the environment. We are creating karmic entanglement. But if we live in this spirit, which is being described so beautifully here, of offering everything to the Lord, then the reaction is not, there's no reaction. It's not touching us, right? There's no negative karmic entanglement that comes as a result. Why? Because our intention has shifted, because we're not doing it for our own selves, but we're making it an offering. And so then not only are we not affected by karma, but actually everyone who comes in connection with our action, they're being uplifted, right? So this is the beauty of prasad, right? That we are offering what we cook, and then all the energy that was involved in the creation of that food, from the farmers, to the vegetables themselves, right? They're all being uplifted by that because it's connected with the spirit of offering to the Supreme Center. So what a wonderful, wonderful thing. Okay, we can go back and hear a few more verses from our Gurudev.
Kaina manasa buddha kevalairindrayirapi yogina karma kurvanti sangang tattva suddhai yukta karma phalang takta shanti mapnoti noistikim ayukta kamakarena phale shakto nibaddhate सर्वकर्माणि मनसा संगनशास्ते सुखं वशी नवद्वारे पुरे देहि नैव कुर्वन्न कारयन् न कर्तृत्वं न कर्माणि लोकस्य सृजति प्रभु न कर्म फलसंयोगः योगं स्वभावस्तु प्रवर्तते नादत्ते कस्यचित् पापं न चैव सुकृतं विभुः अज्ञानेनावृतं ज्ञानं तेन मुह्यन्ति जन्तवः.
Okay, so that's a major one, number 14. So by giving up attachment, the karma yogis perform action merely through the body, mind, intelligence, and even the senses for self-purification. So this is the thing, right? As we mentioned, that same action which previously was entangling and degrading to us, now because we've shifted the intention, it's going to bring us up. It's actually going to purify us rather than contaminate us. Yukta karma phalam tyaktva shantim apnoti naistikim ayukta kama karena phale sakto nibhadyate. Giving up attachment to the fruits of his actions, the materially unmotivated nishkam karma yogi attains constant peace or liberation from actions and reactions. But the fruitive worker, sakam karmi. So sakam means with, the sa, that prefix sa means with, right? Like we say in our jai prayers, jaya sa padikada, right? We actually hear it quite a lot, that giving respects to the Lord with his associates, the sa. So the sa is with. Sakam, with desire. So doing action with desire, contrasted with nishkam. Nishkam is without desire, right? So the sakam karmi, or fruitive worker, as it's put here, is attached to the fruits of his actions, and he becomes implicated by his endeavors. Sarva karmani manasa sanyasyaste sukambashi navadvare pure dehi naiva korvana karayam. Mentally renouncing all actions, the sense-controlled embodied being resides happily within the city of 9 gates, neither acting nor causing work for others. So, and what are those 9 gates? The 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, mouth, anus, and genital. So you'll start to feel like, this body is just like this thing over me, right? Here it's put as a city, right? Puri means a city, like Jagannath Puri. So it's, I mean, different analogies are given. Sometimes the analogy of a temple is given, right? Sometimes the analogy of a car is given, right? So it's this encasement over me, right? And that doesn't have to be a bad thing. We can use this, right? For this body is actually an opportunity, right, to uplift ourselves and to awaken our relationship with the Lord. But you'll feel that, there's this thing over me and the I is within, right? That is distinct. Now, this is an important verse of Bhagavad Gita. Nakachitvam na karmani lokasya shrijati prabhu na karma phala samyogam svabhavastu pravartate. So the Lord does not generate anyone's ego of considering themselves the doer, nor their actions, nor their association with the fruits of their actions. These are all a result of their external nature of ignorance since time immemorial. So we are responsible, right? This whole thing of karma, this whole web, it's a web, right? This web of karma that we're entangled in, we're responsible for that. And it all starts with this conception of being the doer. Karchitvam is the Sanskrit here. That this is the fundamental issue, right? That we have the ego of the doer, right? This I, me, and mine, right? Because and I think there were some earlier verses where this was discussed more, right? Actually everything is taking place by the Lord's energy. If not directly the Lord, his energies, right? So the modes in this plane, the modes of material nature, they're actually causing, they're stimulating action in this world, and everything's moving by the laws of nature, right? There are the different devas, right? The gods who are also responsible for the running of this material plane. So they're actually enabling action to take place, right? All that we can do is to desire, right? We can desire to do different things, but whether or not we're able to do that is dependent upon different forces in the environment, right? So we have this ego of that I am the doer and that I am doing this for me, right? And because I have done this, the results belong to me, right? I am doing it, and so the fruits of that, the results of that, they're also mine, right? They belong to me. And so it is this consciousness that is creating karma in the first place, right? It is that particular ego that is generating karma. It's sometimes described as like there's a knot within us, right? The knot of the ego. Hridaya Granthi, right? The knot on the heart. Right. And so that's what's creating karma. And then there are the different results, the reactions that come as a result of that. And the Lord is establishing here, I'm aloof to this whole thing, right? I'm not responsible. It's not that I'm, because someone may say, well, how is it that people are suffering? Why, Krishna, why are you allowing this to take place? And Krishna is saying, look, I gave you guys free will. I've given you the freedom to choose your actions, right? I've given you the freedom to develop your mood of ahankar, false ego, that's creating all these problems in the first place. It's not that I want you all to suffer. It's just I'm giving you your freedom. and you're learning. So it's not that I deliberately want you all to suffer and to be in ignorance, but I'm giving you the space to learn yourselves, right? And to play dress up, right? You wanted to play dress up and pretend to be this and that and pretend to be king of the world and everything else, right? So I've let you do that. I'm letting you build your sandcastles. And I know the sandcastles are going to collapse and fall down eventually, but you need to learn that for yourself, right? You want to learn that for yourself. It's not that I want you to be upset and cry once your sandcastle falls apart. It's just I was just giving you your space, to work it out. Nadate kasyachit papam na chaiva sukritam vibhu agyanena vritam jnanam tena muyanti jantava. The Supreme Lord accepts neither the sin nor the piety of anyone. The living beings fall into illusion because their knowledge is covered by ignorance. So again, he is aloof, he is detached, right? This is like our giant playhouse / correction house, right? He's just letting us play things out and work things out, right, at our own pace. But then when we realize that, this is actually not fun, right, and it doesn't actually take me anywhere progressive, then his ear perks up, right? When we say, "Oh Lord, I'm tired of this," you know, I just want to go back home, I just want to go home, then his ears perk up, right? Then there's a whole program to help us, right? There's the revealed truth, right? The knowledge that's coming through the scriptures. There's the Lord's agents, right? The Lord's divine agents who are coming to this world to spread this message, right? And the Lord himself, right? He's also personally appearing from time to time. There's a whole program, right? Srila Sridhar Maharaj, in one place, he refers to Krishna as the master hypnotist, right? Because we can experience, there are so many different types of realities that we can experience in this world, right? And then there's a mix of like why that's so, right? Part of it is because it's dependent on what we want to experience, what we choose to experience. But then it's also what the Lord is revealing to us. And there's also an element of like confirmation bias going on, right? That what we want to believe, that's going to be confirmed by the environment, right? So when we want to live in one reality, we're experiencing that, right? But then if some divine grace comes to us and there's some clarity in our consciousness, we start to seek higher shelter, right? We will look for higher shelter. And when we seek that out, then the truth will come. It's as simple as that. When we have a real hankering in our heart, then a real necessity in our heart, then the Lord will send his agents to help us, to guide us. And this is consistently true at every stage of our progress, whether we're like just dipping our toe in, we're just coming to the path for the first time, or whether we've been practicing for many years, we're actually constantly in need, right, of guidance at whatever stage we are at. And there's that beautiful verse in Bhagavad Gita, right? Dadami buddhi yogam tam, right? Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yenamam upayanti te, right? Krishna is saying to those souls who are serving me with love, who are approaching me with love, I will give them the knowledge by which they can come to me. Right? So beautiful, so loving, so encouraging. Right? If you want to have a relationship with me, I'll show you the path. Right? If you're lacking some clarity on the way forward, don't worry. Hang in there. I'll get to you. You know, your moment's coming. So there's so much love, so much encouragement, and so much guidance, right? If we have the eye to see it. Sometimes there may be some lag, right? We have to wait a little bit. We're living within the limitations of time and space, right? So there can be a lag in Krishna's divine will revealing itself within this worldly plane, right? But it will come. If we ask for help, for guidance, it will come. All right. Well, we can stop there for today. Happy Baladev Purnima again. I'm wishing you all nourishing observance. Jai Shri Gurudev, Jai Shri Baladev Purnima, Jai Srimad Bhagavad Gita, all the assembled devotees, sincere seekers ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai, Jai Gaur Premanande. See you all next time.
That was, thank you, Shakari.
Dandavad.